ones or not.
Hoy nos levantamos y todos estábamos felices, pero nunca sabemos cuándo va a ser nuestro último día.
What happened on Sunday was a tragedy. I witnessed it myself, and I would never want to pain going home and not going home to my family.
Y lo que yo vi el domingo era una tragedia que yo vi con mis propios ojos y no quiero que eso le ocurra a nadie más.
Everybody in Ridgewood and every community have to understand that as we get older, our cognitive skills, even young people, we need to get off the headsets. We need to look at the corners, look around, see what's going on, so that we can visually help our neighbors or elderly guys or elderly whoever it is. Stop, pay attention, look out for each other. Because what happened today, Sunday, unfortunately, is a tragedy.
No solo en este vecindario de Ridgewood, pero en toda la ciudad tenemos que estar más vigilantes de los vehículos, especialmente a las personas de la tercera edad y a todos los que caminan con sus teléfonos, sus audífonos. Tenemos que estar más en alerta de los automóviles que están manejando bien rápido.
And it can happen to any one of us. It doesn't matter, me, you, anybody. So please, pay attention. Look out for each other. At the corner, say hello, beep it. Because you know what? Me, you, anybody, it can happen to you. We don't want that to happen. Not in Ridgewood, nowhere. This press conference should not be about this man's passing. It should be about why is this happening? Why are the conscious mind not figuring it out? Let's share this information with everybody and keep on going, because you're not in the world together. We're in the world not together, not by yourself, but together.
Todos estamos aquí en este mundo juntos, ¿verdad? Y nos tenemos que cuidar uno a otro. Esto es algo que yo nunca quiero que pase a ninguna persona, ni en mi familia, ni en este vecindario. De nuevo, tenemos que estar más en alerta con todos los que están caminando por las calles. Y solo quiero agregar que el señor King ha estado luchando para un semáforo aquí en la intersección de Ridgewood y Seneca por más de un año. También nuestros miembros han luchado por un semáforo aquí. Es una zona escolar. Una cuadra de aquí hay una escuela. 2 cuadras de aquí hay otra escuela. Esta zona necesita más seguridad para las personas que andan en pie y los biciclistas. Mr. King, que acá tiene su negocio, ha visto tantos accidentes en esta intersección y él está diciendo hoy día, ya no más, para hoy día. So I wanted to add actually to what Mr. King just mentioned, that Mr. King, as the business owner of King's Juice Bar here in this intersection of Warfield and Seneca Street, for over a year has been fighting for a traffic signal here at this intersection. On this block, there's a school. 2 blocks down, there's another school. And yet, DOT has not installed a traffic signal. Mr. King himself has tracked numerous accidents at this intersection, and today he's saying it stops now. Thank you,
Mr. King. Ask Mr. King a question?
Sure, of course.
What was going through your mind when you saw this happen?
How is this happening? Nothing was going through my mind except, why is this guy speeding? What happened? How do I help? I ran, tried to get the license plate, to no avail. Tenants. I went to the scene. It was chaos because nobody could believe what was happening. So as a community member, I try to help. I direct the traffic because an unfortunate tragedy happened, and we have to wake up and understand that it can happen to any one of us. It was total shock.
How frustrated are you with what's going on around here?
I'm so frustrated because I've been in Ridgewood for 40 years, and I love Ridgewood. The issue with Ridgewood is it's a community based on community attention, love, dedication, looking out for each other. Old lady across the street, help her. Today's generation is a different world. Focus, pay attention, stop thinking about yourselves. If you're on the street, anything can happen. Forces are out that we can't control. But if you collectively think about each other, it will be a better place anywhere in the world. So focus.
Can you spell your first name?
Adrian, A-D-R-I-N.
And you're the owner of?
King's Juice Bar.
Mr. King, what communication you had with the Department of Transport to get the traffic signal installed?
Adrian King.
Well, my last communication with Ted Lynch from the bid said they got approved. No avail, they don't answer the phone, so it's not easy phone call away. You call the senator's office, whoever's office, it doesn't matter. non-responsive. Like I say, now, today, tomorrow, it's just how it is. People need to be more alert, more proactive, and care. Not just because, oh, well, it happened now, so I'm going to care. No, care all the time. Think about what you're doing in life to help your neighbors, not just yourself.
Okay, and just to follow up, when did you receive that confirmation that it had been approved?
I received a verbal confirmation that was approved last week. So I got that confirmation today.
So I don't think this information has been confirmed, and the word I got from the Queen's liaison for DOT is as follows. We will be in touch about the study at Warefield Street. We are unable to send a representative today. We are also working to get details around the fatal crash on Seneca Avenue and are looking to see if there are ways to further enhance safety for all street users. But we need them to do more than just we need to look at ways, right? We need them to do it now. Here at this intersection, it's been a year, over a year. There's been numerous accidents. We can share videos of all the accidents that Mr. King and our neighbor Robert Diaz has been tracking here. It is unacceptable. Mr. Troon should not have died. The hit and run on Warefield and George Street should not have died. I saw it after it happened, like 5 minutes after it happened when I was coming home from work. That should not be happening, not in Ridgewood, not anywhere in this city. And as long as it keeps happening, we know that DOT and the mayor they're not keeping us safe. And that's what today is about. They are not enhancing our protection in any way, shape, or form. And we need them to do it now, not tomorrow, not in a week from now, not in we are looking to see if there are ways. We need to do it now. Yes.
And in a final note, every elected official is elected by the people. And the people need to start speaking up and getting on there, because it's not fair to have a cushy job and re-elect you.
Not so Christian.
You answer the phone call. Answer the phone call. Say hello. Find out what's going on. Because at the end of the day, your universe is ours, supposedly. That's why you're here. So I don't know who you are. I don't care. All I care is that you make things happen, that you do the right thing with your business. Because at the end of the day, I bet you don't live out here, right? Exactly. How's the story?
It's just as dangerous.
So let's make it happen. Be proactive. Big
Well, look, I
support.
think since we're talking
And he will,
about
and he will. Yeah.
I
So
wrote a letter at the request of you, I think, initiated
Yeah.
a year and a half ago.
Yes.
So I've been fighting this fight with you. Well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. At the end of the day, folks, keep on being proactive. Everybody around, do the same thing. Not harass them, but just be on them. Because at the end of the day, it could be you, your family. And who wants to go home to hear that news? That's the worst thing. I can imagine how the family feels.
And we've collected over 500 signatures when our member Stephanie started to organize for a stop sign and a traffic signal here. We've collected over 500 signatures from people in this area. We've reached out to Senator Gianaris, to get his support. He's been pressuring DOT constantly. We've reached out to the council member, Jennifer Gutierrez. She's also, her and her office have also been pushing very diligently so that we can protect all pedestrians and bicyclists in this neighborhood. It is imperative. We're fighting for our lives out here. And we need everyone on board on the same page, like we know the senator is and the council member is. And we all need to be working together to maximize our protection so that no one else dies. Thank you, Mr. King.
Next, we're going to hear from Ridgewood Tenants Union member, Maritza Namuche.
Ahora vamos a escuchar de Maritza Namuche, es una residente de Ridgewood.
My name is Maritza Namuche, and I live a few blocks of here for near 20 years. And since my son went to PS 77 at the next corner, I was so worried and insecure because the driver do not respect the rules of transit. We, the people of Ridgewood, need the city improve those rules because we deserve safe streets in our community. The government of our city are doing so too little to enforce traffic laws. And we, the people who elect you, are waiting to see you work for us. The worker, Mr. Tran, who died this Sunday, show us that the city do not care for our security. We, the people of New York, are facing problems with the increase of our rent. We have no affordable places to live. And more than that, we have to run to save our lives. Thank you.
¿Lo quiere decir en español, por favor? Rapidito. Sí.
Mi nombre es Maritza Lamuche, and I live cerca de aquí por cerca de 20 años. And desde que mi hijo fue a la escuela 77, cerca de aquí, estaba muy insegura y preocupada porque los conductores de los carros no respetan las reglas de tránsito. Nosotros, las personas de Ridgewood, necesitamos que la ciudad mejore nuestras reglas de tránsito porque nosotros merecemos calles seguras en nuestra comunidad. La ciudad está haciendo muy poco para reforzar las leyes de tránsito y nosotros, las personas que vivimos en la ciudad, elegimos a nuestros gobernantes y nosotros estamos esperando que ellos hagan algo por nosotros. La muerte del trabajador Tran es una persona que trabajaba para su familia, para nuestra comunidad. Era una persona respetable que se dedicaba a trabajar. La muerte de él nos enseña que la ciudad no le importa nuestras vidas, nuestra seguridad. Nosotros estamos atravesando problemas con los aumentos de nuestras rentas y más de eso tenemos que cuidarnos en las calles, tenemos que correr para salvar nuestras vidas. Esto ya es demasiado. Muchas gracias.
Next, we're going to hear from Kathy Price, who is an organizer with Transportation Alternatives.
Hi, my name is Kathy Price. I'm an organizer with Transportation Alternatives, also here representing Families for Safe Streets. We're not only here to acknowledge the lives of those who have been impacted right here by traffic violence, but also to acknowledge the community members who are all here to not only remember those who have been directly impacted, but are here to affect change. I want to acknowledge.
Estamos aquí no solamente para conmemorar la muerte que pudo haber sido prevenida de Tran, pero también por los miembros de la comunidad que estamos aquí juntos, en colectividad, luchando para que el Departamento de Transportaciones ponga mejores reglas y más medidas.
And let's acknowledge that we've heard from community members, business owners, neighbors who know the streets. We are all experts of our streets. And as Mr. King said, as a 30-year Ridgewood neighbor, he has called out this particular intersection as dangerous for over a year. We stand in partnership with our elected officials to call on the city to do more, not only at this intersection, but across Ridgewood. We know what works, and we need to take action immediately. We shouldn't have to rely on come together and affect change after a tragedy occurs, but that is often the case.
Este llamado no solamente lo hago como organizadora, pero también reconociendo que los miembros de la comunidad se han unido para hacer este llamado a las agencias de Nueva York y a nuestros gobernantes, porque son los miembros de la comunidad quienes conocen las calles, son expertos en las calles, todos los que vivimos acá, y y por eso ese llamado es mucho más significante. La otra cosa es que no se debe esperar a una muerte de alguien, de una vida humana, para efectuar cambios. Ese es un cambio, una muerte que pudo haber sido prevenida con cambio que previene una vez antes de la muerte de alguien. No es necesario que alguien muera para efectuar cambio.
When I heard Mr. King speaking about his work, acknowledging this particular intersection and the dangers that he has personally witnessed, I thought back to January when the mayor and the DOT commissioner promised to improve safety at 1,000 intersections across New York City. So I raised that question of how can we push the DOT and the city to make those improvements that community members like Mr. King have been talking about for years.
Es un llamado de atención para mí y para todos los miembros de la comunidad el hecho de que al inicio de este año, en enero, el alcalde y los comisionadores que trabajan con él nos aseguraron que iban a asegurar las calles y intersecciones en más de 100 intersecciones en la ciudad. Y a pesar de esas promesas fallidas, escuchamos ahora al señor King hablar de su batalla de más de un año en poder ganar una luz de tráficos aquí en esta intersección sin haber podido tener éxito.
So we need to rely on street design and infrastructure to affect change. We know from the DOT that road diets, bike lanes, pedestrian islands, sidewalk expansions, turn calming and leading pedestrian intervals all deliver impressive injury reductions for everyone, including older adults. I want to note that crash patterns suggest that older pedestrians use the street very similarly to younger adults, and more adults are actually injured or killed while riding their bike than being struck by a cyclist. So I just want to bring it back to the known solutions for reducing traffic violence through design and infrastructure. Thank you.
Él quiere hacer un punto de que las soluciones no son soluciones que hay que empezar desde cero. Del sitio web del Departamento de Transportación aquí en Nueva York hay ya los métodos que han sido por expertos asegurándose de que reduzcan los daños a la gente. Esto incluye expertos en diseño e infraestructura de una ciudad y los métodos consisten en señales de tráfico y otros métodos para reducir la velocidad y para asistir a los peatones y darles espacio a los peatones que puedan caminar con seguridad.
Next, we're hearing from Mallory Woods, representing Ridgewood Rides.
My name is Mallory Woods, and I'm a Ridgewood resident and also a member of Ridgewood Rides, which is a newly formed group of neighbors riding bikes together for safe streets. First, we wanted to extend our deepest condolences to the Tran family. We've heard today all the ways that the city has failed that family, and we need to do better. Ridgewood Rides began with a Facebook post from a local mom concerned about the lack of safe infrastructure for people who don't drive cars. 73 comments, and a few days later, we met just up the street for a group bike ride around areas where we saw the greatest need for improvements.
Muy buenas tardes, soy residente de Ridgewood y soy parte de un grupo de residentes que trabajamos juntos para mantenernos seguros. El grupo empezó después de que una publicación en el muro de Facebook llamó la atención de un accidente y la mucha inseguridad que existe para las mamás. Nos encontramos frecuentemente cerca de esta intersección.
So what started as an impromptu demonstration that day has quickly grown into a community of neighbors demanding safe streets for pedestrians and bike riders.
Empezamos como un grupo muy pequeño haciendo demostraciones públicas y ahora el grupo se refuerza porque hay mucha necesidad para seguir trabajando juntos y mejorar la seguridad de nosotros.
Ridgewood desperately needs the Department of Transportation and our local leadership to put an end to reckless driving and make our streets safe for everyone. safe for parents walking their kids to school, neighbors out for a bike ride on a summer evening, and safe for delivery workers just trying to do their job.
Como ya sabemos, los líderes de esta ciudad necesitan hacer mucho más para asegurar a gente que trabaja y camina, a mamás, padres de familia que van de caminata con sus hijos y a los ciclistas que salen a manejar su bicicleta en una tarde de verano sin esperar un accidente.
We all deserve to be safe, and this family's loss should not be in vain.
Todos merecemos tener seguridad al salir a las calles de nuestro vecindario y la pérdida de esta familia fue innecesaria, fue prevenible y no debe suceder nunca más.
Next, we're going to hear from Senator Mike Gianaris.
Thank you. I appreciate this community so very much, and I feel the frustration that they're experiencing. It's a frustration that exists throughout this city. It's a frustration that I share because we have all been working so hard to make the streets throughout the city safer.
Yo aprecio esta comunidad mucho, demasiado, y me da pena que esto ha ocurrido. Yo estoy trabajando bien duro para hacer esta ciudad más segura para todos, y es una lástima, una frustración muy grande que esto ocurrió.
I mentioned earlier, I brought this intersection to the attention of the DOT a year and a half ago. And they are still studying it, is what they just indicated to you. And this is a problem we see everywhere. I also happen to represent a stretch of Queens Boulevard. The city knows what it needs to do to make these places safe. They just need the will to do it.
Un año y medio atrás, yo les mandé un aviso al Departamento de Transportación para que pongan atención a esta intersección en Warfield y Seneca. También en Queens Boulevard, parte del distrito del senador, también él ha puesto esa calle peligrosa a la atención del Departamento de Transportación y nada ocurre.
Now let me tell you the problem. The city has it backwards. And this is what we learned. Queens Boulevard used to be known as the Boulevard of Death because so many people were killed in crashes on Queens Boulevard. And after all those deaths, they finally did something about it.
Queens Boulevard antes lo llamaban la Avenida de la Muerte, ¿verdad? Y el Departamento de Transportación lo tiene al revés. Después de tantas muertes, ahí hicieron algo para proteger a los que van en pie.
What the city does, just so you understand their process, is they study an intersection and they score it. And part of the score is how many crashes have there been, how many people have been killed, how many people have been injured. So they have to wait until that happens to get the score high enough to realize that an intersection needs protection.
Entonces, para que el Departamento de Transportación vean si una avenida, una calle necesita protección, ellos les dan puntos. Cuántas personas posiblemente han muerto, cuántas personas han sido atropelladas, y después que hay suficientes puntos, ahí es cuando actan y hacen algo.
In the meantime, the communities know best, and I think our friends of the Transportation Alternatives said this. Our communities know best which intersections are dangerous. They live in these neighborhoods. They walk these streets. They ride their bicycles down these streets. But for DOT, that's not good enough. They have to see that people have been hurt. They have to see that people have died. They have to see that crashes actually happen first. And that is completely backwards, where you have to wait till New Yorkers are dead before you do something about it.
Y nuestras comunidades saben exacto qué está pasando, qué está ocurriendo en nuestros vecindarios. Nosotros sabemos el peligro que existe en estas calles, pero el Departamento de Transportación lo tiene al revés. Ellos están esperando que más gente muera para poder actuar.
So we will keep raising our voices. I want to thank Ridgewood Tenants Union, Transportation Alternatives, Ridgewood Rides, and all the members of this community for refusing to give up and standing on this corner today and making the point once again that the city needs to get its act together, be proactive, and save people before it's too late.
Y vamos a seguir luchando también con los compañeros de Ridgewood, el sindicato de inquilinos de Ridgewood, a la organización de Transportation Alternatives, con el grupo de Ridgewood Rides. Vamos a seguir trabajando para hacer un cambio en esta comunidad para que no pase más esto.
Can I ask a question? Quick question. Can I ask a question? Do you get behind the mic? Wait, you've got a technical. No, I was going to ask you a question behind the mic. You said you've been working on this for a long time. Why isn't it getting done then? What do you think is the problem?
Well, each administration takes its own approach. The de Blasio administration finally got on Queens Boulevard, but they haven't done enough through the rest of the city. And Mayor Adams has promised to do something. We're now 8 months in, and we'd like to see things move faster along.
What exactly do you want done?
Well, I want them to engage with communities, take note of what intersections are dangerous, and don't wait until people are dead before they do something about it.
How frustrated are you?
Incredibly. I have this frustration in Astoria. I had it in Woodside. I've had it in Sunnyside. We have it certainly here in Ridgewood. This is a problem that spans the entire city of New York. And so this is just the latest example that we're here talking about. Ridgewood has a lot of these unfortunate tragedies, but it's happening everywhere. The city's really got to change the way it does business.
One more question. Why do they have to wait till people die?
Well, because what DOT does is they conduct a study at an intersection. They look at various statistics and metrics. One of the big ones is how many crashes have happened, how many people have been killed at these intersections. That gets you a higher score in the study to then justify the traffic light by their system.
Next, we'll hear from Council Member Jennifer Gutierrez.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. I want to just thank the coalition for holding this press conference today and this vigil for Baytron. To echo what everyone else has said, this is a huge, it's a frustrating moment for us. Exactly 7 days ago, I was at a press conference for the barista that was killed on Morgan Avenue. The week before that, a family of migrants that just arrived here from the border forcefully were victims of, luckily, a non-fatal hit and run. And 2 nights ago, someone was hit and run in Jackson Heights. And I think a few things are happening here, right? One, exactly what the senator said. DOT creates its own red tape around what needs to happen to create and mitigate necessary changes. In the worst case scenario, they invest in mitigations. In the best case scenario, they keep communities alive. To me, that's a matrix that's well worth the investment. To me, that's a matrix that doesn't require another life lost. The second thing that's happening is that if we're looking at crash statistics, if we're looking at street murders, the amount of people of color and immigrants that are dying on our streets is worthy enough of calling this a public health crisis.
And elderly.
And I hate to highlight his age, but that is true. Someone who is still working at 74, risking their life every single day to provide for their family and to contribute to an economy for a city that says, I don't care about your safety, is a slap in the face to his family and their story of coming here to the United States. And the third thing is, it was a hit and run. There's little incentive for car owners to take responsibility and ownership of just how much power they have when they are behind the wheel. This city has done way too much to empower drivers at the cost of pedestrians, at the cost of cyclists, of our seniors, of our children. It's time that we make that change. And I want to encourage everyone here. For a long time, a lot of these decisions will get heard at the community board. And there's a lot of pushback from the community board. None of these folks here are members of the community board. I encourage you all, when that happens, contact our office. Let's show up and let's be supportive of the innovative and life-changing changes that needs to happen to keep people in our community alive. It's unacceptable. And we need to continue to push DOT. It's unacceptable that there exists a rubric for how many deaths need to occur for mitigation to happen. I am extremely frustrated. Like I said, I was at a vigil last week. I made a commitment to that family. I make a commitment to this community. This is why I ran, because I'm sick and tired of the privilege of the car owners being at the center of the conversation. They get to be elevated. They get notifications. But when it comes to people, working class people, who can barely afford to live here enough as it is already, who are choosing to ride a bicycle, we continue to say we do not care about your priorities. We do not care about your stroller. We do not care about your aging father who's still working at 74. So I'm committed. Again, I want to thank the coalition. I will say it in Spanish. Thank you, Raquel, for the reminder. Estoy sumamente frustrada porque hace 7 días acompañé a una familia en su vigilia, en honrando a su hijo que también fue matado trabajando como un deliverista. Y lo que yo pienso que sucede son varias cosas. Primeramente, el sistema del Departamento de Transporte, en decir a contestar a nuestras comunidades, bueno, acá necesitamos que ver más muertes, necesitamos que ver más accidentes antes que nosotros podemos hacer algo, es completamente equivocado. Están equivocados y nos están causando más daño. Y la verdad es que cada vez que ellos se sientan en sus manos y no hacen lo que es necesario, nos dicen a nosotros, una comunidad de trabajadores, una comunidad de inmigrantes, una comunidad de personas mayores, que nuestra seguridad no les importa. Y eso es un mensaje que nosotros tenemos que seguir elevando, porque las cosas no son así y es injusta. Y segundamente, es cuando nosotros tenemos la oportunidad de participar en estas propuestas que hacen cambios, todos tenemos que participar, todos tenemos que decir a la Junta Comunitaria 5 que a nosotros lo que nos importa es nuestra seguridad. Esto es una crisis pública. Esto es una crisis de salud pública. Entre más personas de color, entre más inmigrantes se nos mueren en nuestras calles y mientras más tiempo nosotros gastamos, esto se eleva a una crisis seria. Entonces nosotros tenemos que organizarnos, continuar a elevar estas voces para que la muerte de Tran no sería en vano. Porque lastimosamente esta es otra vida que nosotros tenemos que decir, perdimos acá en Ridgewood y no debe de ser así. Muchas gracias.
Concejal. Concejal. ¿Qué debería hacer el alcalde de la ciudad de Nueva York y el departamento de transporte para solucionar este problema? ¿Qué están haciendo mal?
¿Qué deben hacer o
¿Qué deben hacer y qué están haciendo mal?
Pues como dijo el senador, primeramente tienen que venir a nuestras calles. No es suficiente que ellos toman un análisis un día o una encuesta a la hora con menos tráfico, a la hora cuando las escuelas no se están despachando los niños. Es importante que ellos colaboren y coordinen con los residentes de acá para si están tomando la encuesta para saber, bueno, cuál es el horario que más van a haber más personas para nosotros aprender cómo tenemos que prevenir eso. Segundamente, tenemos que ver una inversión seria de parte de la alcaldía y del ayuntamiento en los cambios necesarios. Lo que nosotros vemos es una igualdad de a dónde van las prioridades de seguridad. Lo vemos en Manhattan, lo vemos en 14th Street, pero ¿por qué no lo vemos acá en Ridgewood? ¿Por qué no lo vemos en Bushwick? Entonces tiene que ver como una realidad y una conversación a dónde es que están esos recursos para asegurar que nosotros podemos seguir usando estas comunidades de una manera segura.
¿Y usted ha hablado con el comisionado Idanis Rodríguez sobre esto?
La semana pasada sí le pegué una llamada porque como mencioné, hubo una muerte en mi distrito. No he tenido una conversación con él directamente, pero sí he tenido varias conversaciones con el comisionado del condado de Brooklyn y tengo una llamada coordinada con la comisionada del condado de Queens. Pero ese sería el próximo paso y tengo esperanzas de que él me conteste y que él venga, porque él sabe muy bien cómo se manejan las comunidades de nosotros. Gracias.
In English?
Oh. I mean, I basically just elaborated on the English stuff, but basically what he asked